Tiffany Trump just had her baby shower.
Tiffany Trump, often the most private of the Trump children, has found herself in the middle of a family storm, one that has left her stunned and silent. Despite rarely making headlines, Tiffany is now at the center of a drama that exposes the complex and sometimes painful dynamics between her and her father, Donald Trump. While her siblings Ivanka, Don Jr. and Eric have been fixtures in the Trump organization and political sphere, Tiffany has long charted her own course. Born to Donald Trump and his second wife, Marla Maples, Tiffany grew up in California away from the spotlight that constantly followed the rest of the Trump clan. But everything changed when her father made a decision so unexpected it shook her world and left her reeling. What exactly did Donald Trump do to leave his daughter speechless?
Take a look inside Donald Trump's relationship with Tiffany Trump.
To answer that, we need to delve into the long, complicated relationship between Tiffany and her father, one filled with highs, lows, and undeniable tension. Despite their close bond at times, Tiffany has often felt like the outsider in a family dominated by headlines and ambition. The alleged instances of favoritism have not gone unnoticed. Tiffany was the only adult Trump child.
US President-elect Donald Trump has reshuffled his White House transition team.
Not appointed to her father's 2016 presidential transition team.
Happening now, Donald Trump's daughters are in Cobb County campaigning for their father.
She was also noticeably absent from any major role in his 2020 re-election campaign, a stark contrast to her siblings, who played prominent roles. At the 2024 Republican National Convention, Donald Trump reportedly turned away as Tiffany leaned in for a kiss, a small but powerful moment that further fueled speculation about a growing rift. And the public snubs didn't end there. When Tiffany turned 26, her father failed to publicly acknowledge her birthday, despite sending warm wishes to his other children, and even the US Navy. Such actions have raised eyebrows and questions. Why is Tiffany treated so differently? Tiffany's interests have always set her apart. While she's shown interest in contributing to the Trump family business, her vision for her role has never aligned with the traditional Trump playbook. In 2016, she expressed hope in bringing a distinct skill set to the table, one reflective of her unique upbringing and identity. But this divergence may have further alienated her from a family that often expects loyalty, conformity, and public alignment. Some sources have claimed that Donald Trump has made disparaging remarks about Tiffany's appearance, even commenting on her weight. These hurtful comments, combined with a perceived lack of public pride in her achievements, have painted a picture of paternal distance that Tiffany has had to silently endure. Raised mostly by her mother, Tiffany's early years were spent far from the Manhattan Towers and political battlegrounds her siblings were immersed in. Thrust into the spotlight only when her father ran for president, she faced the challenge of carving out her own identity under the enormous weight of the Trump name. Her life has been a balancing act between family loyalty and personal independence. And yet, Tiffany never gave up. While she may not share the political hunger or business drive of her siblings, her quiet strength and grace in navigating public snubs, criticism, and rejection speak volumes. The recent shock decision from Donald Trump, the details of which remain closely guarded, has only magnified these family tensions and once again raised the question, what is Tiffany Trump's place in the Trump legacy? Join us as we unpack the emotional fallout and hidden truths behind Tiffany Trump's reaction to her father's latest move. A move so startling, it left her completely speechless. For every story, there's always a beginning. And for Tiffany Trump and her mother Marla Maples, it wasn't exactly a fairy tale. The roots of their complicated history lie in a tabloid-fueled scandal that rocked the Trump empire in the early 90s. When Donald Trump's affair with TV personality Marla Maples came to light, the media took sides, overwhelmingly favouring his first wife, Ivana Trump. That scandal didn't just dominate headlines, it shaped Tiffany's life before she could even walk.
Newly uncovered video of Donald Trump from an interview back from the 90s shows that while he might love women, as he loves to say at his rallies,
Trump later admitted in a 1994 interview, "My life was so great in so many ways. A beautiful girlfriend, a beautiful wife, a beautiful everything. Life was just a bowl of cherries." If not for the scandal, he implied, his marriage to Maples and possibly Tiffany's birth might never have happened. Growing up far from the spotlight that consumed the Trump Tower penthouse, Tiffany lived a different reality than her half-siblings. While Ivanka, Don Jr., and Eric were raised in the heart of Manhattan under the watchful eye of the public and the press, Tiffany was raised on the West Coast by her mother. In a 2013 conversation with Oprah Winfrey, she reflected on her childhood, noting how it gave her a sense of normalcy her siblings didn't have. She experienced life without the cameras flashing and the headlines constantly scrutinizing her every move. This distance arguably became Tiffany's quiet strength. While Ivanka was often seen as the crown jewel of the Trump legacy, poised, polished, and ever-present, Tiffany became the unwitting symbol of privileged paternal neglect. The contrast between the two sisters became a recurring punchline in late-night comedy, not due to Tiffany's actions, but as a way to critique Donald Trump's skewed sense of family values. Yet Tiffany never asked for sympathy. Instead, she carved her own path. During the 72nd Cannes Film Festival, Tiffany was photographed at the five-star Hôtel Barrière Le Majestic in the south of France alongside her boyfriend, businessman Michael Boulos. It was a rare public appearance, one that subtly underscored how she's managed to stay out of the controversies that often follow her last name. Her presence at such an elite event, untarnished by political baggage, stood in stark contrast to Ivanka, whose once envied lifestyle has since become far more polarizing. Despite the emotional and physical distance, Tiffany's relationship with her father remains complex. Donald Trump himself has acknowledged that he wasn't the most involved parent, not just for Tiffany, but for all his children, including Barron. "I was always working," he has said, noting his absence throughout their formative years. And yet, friends of the family say Trump privately admires Tiffany's strength and resilience, even crediting her well-adjusted nature to her mother's influence and Tiffany's inner fortitude. Ivanka, however, offered a different perspective. In a 2015 interview with Barbara Walters, she gently challenged her father's claims, saying, "He was very available to us." She recalled sneaking candy bars in the lobby with him and playing in his office, intimate moments that speak to a more engaged father-daughter relationship than Tiffany ever had. For Tiffany and Marla, those memories are fewer and farther between. Still, it's those very differences, those separate worlds, that shaped Tiffany Trump into who she is today. Raised with a sense of independence, she wasn't molded by the constant need to uphold a family brand. Instead, she quietly earned a degree from Georgetown Law and built a life less documented, but perhaps more her own. After their separation in 1997, Marla Maples and her daughter Tiffany Trump began a new chapter far from the spotlight that had long followed the Trump name. Though the divorce wasn't finalized until 1999, reportedly for about $2 million plus child support, Marla made a decisive move to California. There, she aimed to raise Tiffany in a more grounded and private environment. They settled into a suburban neighborhood in Los Angeles, where life revolved around school drop-offs, soccer games, and quiet dinners at home. 5 nights a week, Marla cooked for the two of them, saving the other two for sushi nights out. Despite her past in the limelight as an actress, model, and former beauty queen, Marla shifted her focus to wellness and spirituality. She juggled occasional hosting gigs and even launched a radio show, Awakening with Marla, while immersing herself and Tiffany in a more introspective lifestyle. They regularly attended services at the Kabbalah Center, and Marla worked hard to create a nurturing space free from the media frenzy that came with being linked to Donald Trump. Their quiet life in Los Angeles was a far cry from the whirlwind that brought Tiffany into the world. Born in October 1993, Tiffany's early years were marked by headlines. Just 2 months after her birth, her parents married at a star-studded ceremony at the Plaza Hotel in New York. The guest list included over 1,000 people, among them Howard Stern, O.J. Simpson, and Rosie O'Donnell.
1990 divorce between Donald J. Trump and Ivana Trump.
The wedding followed Donald Trump's highly publicized divorce from his first wife, Ivana Trump, which had played out across the pages of the New York Post and New York Daily News. That split ended in 1990, with Ivana receiving custody of their 3 children, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric. Trump hadn't planned to remarry so quickly or have more children, but Tiffany's arrival caught him off guard. Reflecting on it years later, during a 2004 appearance on The Howard Stern Show, he recalled being surprised at the news of Marla's pregnancy. At the time, it was like, "Excuse me, what happened?" When asked what to do next, Marla called it the most beautiful day of our lives. Trump's response? A casual, "Oh, great." Despite his tone, he called the New York Times just 20 minutes after Tiffany's birth to announce the arrival of a perfect little girl, noting she was a blend of both parents' looks. Interestingly, the name Tiffany had always held significance for Trump. He had originally wanted to name his first daughter Tiffany, but Ivana had vetoed the idea. He often referenced Tiffany and Company, the famed jeweler next to Trump Tower, saying the building used the store's air rights. His fondness for the name lingered, finally coming to life with his youngest daughter. Marla, for her part, made efforts to ensure Tiffany was visibly part of the Trump family narrative. For Donald's 50th birthday, she commissioned an oil painting that included all 4 of his children, replacing an earlier one in his office that showed only Don Jr., Ivanka, and Eric. In the new portrait, little Tiffany sat in Ivanka's lap, a symbolic gesture showing Marla's desire for her daughter to be accepted within the Trump fold. Meanwhile, the divorce from Marla dragged on, in part due to disputes over their prenuptial agreement. Marla, much like Ivana before her, contested the terms of the deal, which promised her between $1 million and $5 million if they split before reaching 5 years of marriage. Trump later described prenuptial agreements as a hard, painful, and ugly tool, comparing the conversation to saying, "Darling, I think you're magnificent and I care for you deeply, but if things don't work out, this is what you're going to get." He took a similarly pragmatic approach with Melania, signing a prenup before their marriage as well. Interestingly, while Trump met Melania Knauss in 1998, just a year after separating from Marla, he and Marla were still technically married. That overlap added yet another layer of tabloid fodder to an already tangled personal history. Tiffany Trump has always shared a deep bond with her mother, Marla Maples. In a 2013 interview with Oprah Winfrey, Tiffany said, "My friends are always like, 'Wow, you guys have a really good relationship.' She's with me a lot of the time, and people find that kind of shocking." Their close connection is clear from heartfelt posts Tiffany has shared on Mother's Day, often thanking her mum for her love, support, and guidance. Maples, in return, has always spoken proudly of Tiffany, describing her as a kind and loving daughter. Marla Maples was determined to give Tiffany a life filled with peace and routine, far away from the chaos of the Trump spotlight. She made a conscious decision to raise her daughter with a sense of normalcy, allowing Tiffany the space to grow into her own person. This quieter life in California helped Tiffany explore her own interests and discover who she was outside of her father's fame. In 2009, when Tiffany was just 15, Maples opened up about her daughter's growing love for music and theatre. Tiffany had already performed in several plays, and her mother supported her every step of the way. Their relationship wasn't just about parenting, it was also a partnership rooted in love, encouragement, and shared experiences. Though she mostly lived with her mother, Tiffany did spend time with her father, Donald Trump, during school breaks. She would often visit him and Melania at Mar-a-Lago during spring vacations, and occasionally in New York. Trump also made efforts to attend her school events in Los Angeles when his schedule allowed. Maples had always hoped Tiffany would build a strong bond with her father, just like his other children. She believed this could happen through simple things, like visiting his office or just spending quality time together. But as Trump moved from being a businessman to running for president, those opportunities became fewer and farther between. Despite the distance, Maples noted she was grateful for having the chance to raise Tiffany mostly on her own terms. Over the years, Tiffany's relationship with her father has drawn attention, with some sources hinting that it might not be as strong as the ones he shares with his other kids. Trump once said he was proud of Tiffany, though perhaps not as much as his other children, and referenced her college graduation as a proud moment. Former White House assistant Madeleine Westerhout also made headlines after claiming that Trump had commented on Tiffany's weight and preferred not to be photographed with her. Interestingly, Tiffany found unexpected support from her half-sister, Ivanka Trump. Despite media comparisons, Ivanka was welcoming and kind. In her 2009 book, The Trump Card, Ivanka shared how Tiffany asked her for advice about asking their dad for a small allowance increase one Christmas. Wanting to help, Ivanka spoke to their father herself and suggested he give Tiffany a credit card with a small monthly limit. Trump agreed, and Tiffany was both surprised and grateful. Their bond didn't stop there. Ivanka helped Tiffany land a summer internship at Vogue in 2015 and included her as a bridesmaid, alongside Don Jr.'s then-wife Vanessa, at her 2009 wedding to Jared Kushner. Though Tiffany didn't grow up seeing her siblings often, she and Ivanka shared meaningful moments that strengthened their relationship over the years. Tiffany Trump has always had a strong bond with her half-sister Ivanka, who fondly calls her Little Sister. Despite growing up in the spotlight, the two have remained close, often spending holidays together and staying in regular contact. Ivanka has openly admired Tiffany's confidence, work ethic, and ambition, qualities that make her stand out even among the high-profile Trump family. So, what is it about Tiffany that makes Ivanka so proud? Let's take a closer look. Born on October 13, 1993, at St. Mary's Medical Center in West Palm Beach, Florida, Tiffany is the only child of Donald Trump and his second wife, actress Marla Maples. Her name was inspired by the famous Tiffany & Company jewelry store, a nod to her father's business world. She entered the world just 2 months before her parents got married. Growing up, Tiffany experienced a unique family setup. She has 3 older half-siblings, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric, from her father's first marriage to Ivana, and a younger half-brother, Barron, from his third marriage to Melania. After her parents' divorce, Tiffany was mostly raised by her mother, Marla, who played a big role in shaping her values and outlook on life. Though her father's name often grabs headlines, Tiffany has worked to create her own identity. Her early interests were artistic. At just 17, she released a music single titled Like a Bird, an electro-pop track that gave a glimpse into her creative side. In an interview on The Oprah Winfrey Show, she spoke about her interest in music, though she wasn't sure if it would become a long-term career. Still, this bold step showed her willingness to explore different passions. Tiffany's curiosity didn't stop at music. In 2015, she stepped into the fashion scene, modeling for designer Andrew Warren during New York Fashion Week. That experience highlighted yet another dimension of her personality, one that's comfortable both on stage and in the public eye. Education has also been a major part of Tiffany's journey. After graduating from Viewpoint School in Calabasas, California in 2012, she attended the University of Pennsylvania, just like her father, and earned a degree in sociology with a focus on law and society in 2016. While there, she was part of the Kappa Alpha Theta sorority, expanding her social and professional network. She didn't stop there. Tiffany went on to attend Georgetown University Law Center in Washington, D.C., where she earned her Juris Doctor degree in May 2020. During this time, she became involved in her father's political campaigns, supporting his policies and speaking at events.
Good evening. I'm Tiffany Trump. Since speaking at the Republican convention 4 years ago, so much has changed for the world, for our country, and for my family.
Her mix of academic success and political involvement shows her drive to make a difference in her own way. Even with a busy life and growing responsibilities, family remains a key part of Tiffany's world. She has maintained a strong relationship with her mother, often sharing their bond on social media. And despite the challenges of being connected to one of America's most well-known families, she continues to build her life on her own terms. From exploring music and fashion to earning a law degree and participating in politics, Tiffany Trump has carved out her own unique path. Her story is one of ambition, self-discovery, and the courage to be different, even when the world is watching. When Tiffany Trump stepped onto the runway at New York Fashion Week for the Just Drew show, it surprised no one. After all, modeling runs deep in the Trump family. Ivana Trump, Marla Maples, and Melania Trump, Donald Trump's 3 wives, all had modeling careers. Even Ivanka Trump had a short modeling stint and was signed to elite model management. For a moment, it seemed like Tiffany might follow that same path. But Tiffany's time in the fashion world was brief. Her appearance on the runway seemed more like a fun experience than a serious career move. Interestingly, she didn't promote the event much, which might suggest she wasn't looking to pursue modeling long term. However, her modeling work was included in her official biography for the 2016 Republican National Convention, where she was described as a model, singer, and social media personality. Beyond the runway, Tiffany also got a taste of the fashion industry with an internship at Vogue. Landing an internship there isn't easy, but Tiffany had support. The details of her time at Vogue remain mostly private, though we know it happened when she was 17. Her mom, Marla Maples, expressed how excited she was for Tiffany and said everyone who met her praised her maturity and strong work ethic. Despite all her creative ventures, Tiffany's relationship with her father has often been a topic of public speculation. Since she spent most of her childhood living across the country, Tiffany didn't have as much time with Donald Trump growing up. The media has often pointed out that he talks more about Ivanka, and rumors about tension between him and Tiffany have swirled for years. Still, Tiffany has described her dad in a positive light. She said that Donald Trump brought joy and humor into their relationship, and that she has good memories of the times they've shared. According to her, he's been a warm and funny presence in her life, even if their relationship wasn't always in the spotlight. Donald Trump has also spoken proudly about Tiffany. He's complimented her for being smart, kind, and well-liked by others. He's especially highlighted her success as a student and her natural ability to connect with people. In his words, she's a remarkable young woman with a bright future. Their bond became more visible during the 2016 presidential campaign when Tiffany took the stage at the Republican National Convention. It was her first time speaking at such a major political event, and she gave a speech in support of her father.
But, like my father, I never back down from challenges. So here I am, a little new to the convention scene, but incredibly honored and very confident in the good man.
He also graduated from the University of Pennsylvania, just like him. a moment that showed how much she valued both her education and their shared history. While she hasn't always been in the spotlight like her older sister Ivanka, Tiffany has built her own unique path. From exploring fashion and modeling to speaking publicly and supporting her father, she's shown that she can balance her own interests with her family's political legacy. Despite the challenges of growing up in such a famous family, Tiffany Trump has proven herself to be thoughtful, ambitious, and full of potential. Tiffany Trump has come a long way from living a quiet life away from the cameras to being constantly in the public eye. Being the daughter of a former US president and a well-known businessman means she's had to deal with intense public scrutiny. But instead of letting the negativity bring her down, Tiffany has chosen to stay focused on her goals and future. Even when things get tough, she leans on her mum, Marla Maples, for support and guidance. In an interview with CNN, Marla shared how they deal with the negativity. Every now and then, we'll see it and it's painful, but we just talk through it and focus on what we're giving to the world. That's what matters most. Tiffany is now embracing motherhood with grace and confidence. She and her husband, Michael Boulos, announced their pregnancy with joy and style. Tiffany showed off her baby bump at her father's inaugural ceremony on January 20th, dressed in elegant monochrome. Later that evening, at the inaugural ball, she wore a dazzling grey gown that captured everyone's attention. Her relationship with Michael began in 2018 when they met at Lindsay Lohan's beach club in Mykonos, Greece. Their bond grew stronger over time, and in January 2021, Michael proposed in the White House Rose Garden with a diamond ring worth over $1 million.
Next, a presidential proposal. Tiffany Trump taking full advantage of her dad's last day in the White House by announcing early this morning that she is engaged.
The couple got married on November 12, 2022, in a grand wedding at Mar-a-Lago, blending both Lebanese and American cultures. Around 500 guests, including well-known names from politics and business, were there to celebrate. Michael Boulos comes from a powerful and wealthy family. His father, Masad Boulos, is a billionaire businessman whose influence extends into politics. He has also supported Donald Trump's presidential campaigns by helping connect with Arab American voters. These close family ties have helped build a strong connection between the Trump and Boulos families. Donald Trump has publicly expressed how proud he is of Tiffany, especially as she prepares to become a mother. He's also shown admiration for the Boulos family, further proving how closely their lives have become intertwined. For Tiffany and Michael, this new chapter in their life as parents is full of love, support, and excitement. Tiffany's relationship with her father, though not always traditional due to distance during her childhood, has been meaningful. She has often shared how his encouragement and example helped shape her into the person she is today. He taught her to work hard and stay true to her values, something she finds incredibly important in both a parent and a leader. She admires many qualities in her father, including his strong leadership, self-confidence, and dedication to his beliefs. She believes his ability to inspire others and stand firm in his principles has earned him her respect. To her, these are key traits of a good father and a good president. Through all the highs and lows, Tiffany Trump has stayed grounded. Her story is one of personal growth, family ties, and staying strong in the face of public pressure. As she steps into the next phase of her life, she continues to focus on what truly matters. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to check out more interesting stories, click the video on your screen. See you in the next one.